Hi everyone, it's Scott Blumstein, Mr. Ramrod 2017. We're at Java Boys in Wilton Manors, and I'm here with my friend Daddy Dog, Florida Handler, for the current title. And I've done a series of interviews with Pup Akis and with Pup Rocket, and with every time I do an interview, it leads me to more questions. And I wanted to talk to my audience about handlers, and so I thought that you'd be an appropriate person to discuss the questions that I have for handler. And the questions that I have are: what makes a good handler? What would a puppy look for in a handler, and what are the benefits of having a handler?
Okay, the first thing is a lot of times when people hear the term handler, they're not really sure exactly what it means. And a handler to a puppy is the same thing as a sir to a boy. And
that makes sense.
There are differences between a sir and a handler, but for the most part, that's the best way to think of the foundation. A handler with a puppy is somebody who is going to nurture and help that puppy be successful, just like a sir is with a boy.
Correct.
So what the analogy I always use for people is, think of it as a sir. When you have a boy, you're a single parent raising a 12-year-old boy. You tell them to clean their room, they clean their room. You tell them to shine your boots, they shine your boots. If you tell a puppy to do that, they just go, "Hello, nice to see you." But at the same time,
rub my belly.
Exactly, rub my belly and tell me I'm pretty. Where the sir may tell the boy those chores to do and send them off to do them, when he sends that boy off, the puppy, his bio puppy, is still sitting there going, "I love you for no reason whatsoever, but I love you." And that's how puppies are. So he gives that puppy unconditional love just like the puppy gives him unconditional love. So what it is with a pup and a handler is, you want to make that puppy want to come to you to bring you the joy that you want. So you may not get your boot shined exactly the same way, but you're going to have more of a connection and more love.
And we talked about positive reinforcement.
Yep.
So that when you want to have them do something, you wave a bone in front of them or a carrot to get the results that you want. And it's like raising a child, like raising a puppy.
Absolutely. Matter of fact, when we go to competitions or to different events, I usually carry a treat pouch on my belt. And if puppy does something good or makes me proud of him for some reason or other, I definitely give him a treat. And you'll find that other puppies know immediately who has the treat jar.
So, what would that treat be?
Usually what we do is we use little Sour Patch Kids, because that tends to be one of Aspen's favorites. But a lot of people will also use Scooby Snacks and little Teddy Grahams.
Okay. And what does a handler get out of the equation or of the relationship?
Well, I considering that my name is Daddy Dog, I actually have daddy tendencies, and I am a sir. And I'm also a handler, so I kind of got that whole gamut going on. The thing that I find most rewarding of being a handler with a puppy is the fact that seeing them accomplish things and knowing that I'm one of the reasons that they were able to accomplish it. I didn't make them what they are, but I gave them the outlet to be successful. And the fact that puppy love, that sounds so weird, but you know what I mean, puppy love is different than a boy's admiration. Puppies just love the fact that you're there for them, that you are accepting of them no matter what, and it's just a very rewarding feeling.
Nice. And so, when you're in a puppy relationship, is there a contract? Is it set amount of time? How do you know if it's a good fit or a bad fit?
Well, I have a boy and I have a puppy. With my boy, when we first got together, we definitely had contracts all the time, and they were always for 3 months. We did 3 months because you don't want to set up a contract where the boy can fail. And so your job as a sir is to make sure that they're always successful.
Right.
So we always did them 3 months at a time, and if we needed to modify them, we modified them, because it's a negotiation. Just because I stuck that paper in front of you does not mean that's the way it is.
Yeah. They have power and
absolutely. You have a voice. You should use it. Yes. So you want to make sure that they're going to be successful, and they want to make sure they're going to be successful in making you happy. So you want to have both things going. With a puppy, you can do the contract, And actually, when Aspen first came to our household, I was going to do a contract for him, and Cubby, my boy, actually thought that because, and I think he was totally right, for the situation, it was probably better if we didn't do a contract. And the reason for it is he wanted it to be a little bit looser, so that the puppy had room to stumble, but not fail.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. We just did it verbally, and it worked for us.
And Aspen is Florida puppy for 2000.
He was Florida Puppy 2017 and the runner-up, 18, and the runner-up at International.
Right, and he's
Puppy
been
Handler.
an advocate for the community and really helping Mr. Ramrod support and raise money for charity and showing up to Boot Black and help out for his fundraising and his travel fund. And also, you. I'm stumbling. So you're also the president of the South Florida Kennel Club.
I'm the vice president.
Vice
Actually,
president.
Aspen is the president.
And how long has that club been going?
The club has actually been around for several years, and it kind of faded away for a while. And then we were actually gifted the club, and Aspen picked up the bull and ran with it. And I help him along as he goes, but he has put it together where the two of us working on it, we have now grown from being the only two people in it to we have around 30 puppies now.
Wow, in the South Florida community?
Yep.
That's pretty amazing. And they meet at the Leatherworks Dungeon?
We actually meet at different places. What we found is instead of having a stuffy meeting somewheres, because they're puppies, it's more fun to have a fun meeting. So we'll go to dinner somewhere. And
call them munches.
Munches, and we'll pick a different restaurant, different like cuisine. Maybe it's Chinese this time. Next time it's Mexican and whatever. And we'll all go and we'll just all have dinner and we'll network, and then we go over the few details that we need to as far as
so it's
what's going to happen
fun
next
and
month.
business.
Absolutely.
And that's once a month.
We do those once a month, and then we also usually do a mosh once a month, and those now are steady at Ramrod on the first week, the first Monday of the month.
Okay, and Pup Rocket is usually the DJ.
And Rocket is the DJ.
Yeah. And what would you suggest to someone in a community or a state that doesn't have like a Ramrod or a Leatherworks Dungeon or a kennel club if they want to get information or get involved in the puppy community?
I actually just talked to somebody online about this. They didn't know where to find anybody. They thought they were the only pup in the village. And I told them, you're not the only pup in the village. This is the fastest growing kink there is.
It's huge.
And it's absolutely crazy. And the thing is, they were looking in all the wrong places. That sounds corny, but it's the truth. And I told them, I says, the place to find puppies is online on Facebook.
Okay.
Go on Facebook, look for the puppy groups, join them, and if you have that situation, well, I can't have my mother know that I'm in that group, then make a second profile that's your puppy profile. Go on Puppy 101 is a great group on Facebook where you can ask any question. It is designed for beginners to ask. And there are people that will give you great answers, and there's also people in there that are moderators that will go, that's baloney, don't listen to that. So you always get good information.
Can we go over some protocols and procedures? I know it's not good form to grab a puppy's tail.
Oh, definitely not. And one of the reasons why it's definitely not good form to grab a puppy's tail is just like a bio puppy. If you grab a tail, you're liable to get bit. But a lot of these puppies who have show tails, which is just one on their belt, some of them are not. Some of them are insertables, and if you pull that out, you may pull out more than just a tail.
You may hurt them. And what about collars and dog tags?
Collars, just like in any other part of the kink community, if someone's wearing a collar, you should be respectful of that, knowing that they belong to somebody. And in puppy, it could possibly be they belong to themselves, because some puppies will wear a collar just to keep the creepers away. But still, you should consider the fact that no touching. And never touch a collar.
And approach them like they are a real puppy and ask them.
Usually, the best way to do it is if you're approaching a puppy and you want to get brownie points right away, you don't have to go up and go, I'm Sir So-and-so, or I'm Handler So-and-so. Go up and open your paw up to them. Just like a bio dog, let them smell you, and then let it go from there.
Can we talk about iPaw?
Sure.
That's coming up. It's a contest that's coming up in Indianapolis, and
It's the last weekend of this month, in
And
July.
it changes from city to city every year. Is
From
that
what
correct?
from what I understand, they're going to try to keep it in Indianapolis if everything is successful this year, which I think it will be. It's a nice hotel and everything.
And you're going.
We're definitely going. We competed last year, Aspen and I. He was runner-up last year. I made top 5, and it was an awesome experience. There were a billion puppies and handlers there.
And it's a $1 billion industry too, because they're selling hoods, they're selling tails, they're selling gear.
Oh, absolutely.
And even at IML and MAL in the leather community, the puppy gear is a big draw for those events.
There was a company that came last year with hoods, and we happened to be there as they were setting stuff up. And I looked in the door and I went, "That's an awesome hood. I want that hood." They must have had 50 hoods, but this one stood out to me.
To you.
We went and put our luggage in the room, came back, and it was already gone, along with like 20 other hoods. They were cleaned out of hoods from the first day.
That's a shame. That's why when you see a piece of gear that speaks to you,
Grab
it because it may not be there. You also own a company called Perviology that's been in existence for 6 years, and you do T-shirts. And Ralph Bruneau, who's IML 2017, used Perviology as a company to raise money for the Born Perfect movement. I've used them for Mr. Ramrod. Elimination has used them for Mr. Ramrod 2018 to raise money for charity. And so can you tell us a little bit about your company too?
Well, our company is kind of two-branched. One of them is we make shirts that are inappropriate to wear anywheres.
We love that.
and those are great. And they go from, "Oh my gosh, that's a little nasty," to, "Holy crap, somebody would wear that?"
Yeah.
And it's great. There's a lot of bear ones, there's a lot of puppy ones, there's just general kink ones. The other
This is one.
actually
This
says
is
this. And one of the other branch that we do is things that are fundraisers. Someone like you, who's Mr. Ramrod, and you wanted to be able to do something to raise some money, you don't want to have to go buy 50 shirts in assorted sizes and wondering what the heck you're going to do with them all if you don't sell them all. So what we do is we do one-offs. So we work with that person who is doing it, and we actually advertise for them, and then we just send them the money as we sell a shirt. So it's nothing out of your pocket, but it's your job to go promote them.
And that's perviology.com.
Right. Don't forget the Y. PERVYOLOGY.
And so you can see all the shirts there and then order one as needed.
Yep.
I also want to, when we were talking earlier, you were telling me that when you competed, you had this mindset that you may not be what the judges were looking for, and that could be a detriment. And I thought, how neat that you overcame that, and that's a metaphor for life. Like people think about going through life, putting their own stumbling blocks in front of them. And how did you know that was not a good thing to do, and how did you overcome it?
Well, it's funny, and actually I'm going to have to tell you about a new shirt that we just got that has to do with that too. Is when I competed last year, I was at my biggest. I was almost 500 pounds, and I was hurt, so I couldn't walk really good, and I felt that everybody probably went, "This is not what we see as the person that should be the handler." And instead of letting that get inside my head, I played the song from The Greatest Showman, "This Is Me," like literally like 800 times a weekend.
To change the tape
just
that's
to
in
change
your
the
head.
tape that was in my head. So I just competed, I did my best, and that's what it is. But you always wondered, was it or did it? Did I even make an impact? And recently we've had some new folks move to town, and one of the people in that couple contacted me, and they said, "Would you be willing to help me along learning about being a handler?" And I said, "Absolutely." And I said, "Well, why did you come to me?" And they told me, they said up in Chicago they had a mentor, and the mentor recommended me when they found that they were moving down, that they needed to seek me out. And I was like, "Really? Who was this?" And it was Issa, who was actually one of our judges, and was somebody who I highly respect.
Wow.
And so it was kind of neat. I was like, "Oh, maybe I made an impact a little bit."
So that T-shirt that you're telling me about?
Oh, so we also now have a new section where I'm helping fundraise for artists.
Okay.
And one of the things that we asked the artists to do was make whatever shirt you wanted, and we would sell it, but to try to make them for marginalized groups. So we have some that are for PSC, some for trans, and one of the artists is a bigger puppy. So, and we were talking about being bigger, and
Uh-huh.
he designed a shirt that says, and it's got a cute puppy on it, and it says Big Pup. And I said, I want this shirt. And he says, well, if you're going to wear that shirt, I have to make it correct. So he actually made me one that says Big Doggo.
Sweet.
So I was going to wear that today,
Sweet.
but I'm saving it for iPhone.
Can we talk about one more thing before we wrap up, because I know
Sure.
the time's going. You're talking about doing a sober leather title.
Oh, yes.
So I want to talk about that.
We're actually in our household, Puppy, Aspen, and my boy Cub, Sir Cub, are both in recovery. And one of the things that I think is key in the kink community is there are a lot of people in recovery.
Yeah, in the gay and leather in the gay community,
Absolutely, yeah.
the mainstream community, it's a big problem.
It's everywhere.
Yeah.
So the thing is, if you're in recovery, you are bettering yourself.
Sure.
And it's not something that you should be ashamed of.
Stigmatized.
So you should be able to say, look at what I'm doing and be proud of it. And a lot of the different events will actually have a recovery meeting in them.
Yeah.
So Cub was talking to the person who is the current Mr. Sober Leather in San Francisco, and he asked him about their contest. And so we decided that we're going to see if we could start one here that will be inclusive to everybody. You don't have to be Mr., Mrs.
Right.
Unicorn Windshield Wiper, whatever you are. You just be in it. And the only requirement is that you're not even so much in recovery, but that you're sober. And we're still working out all the little details, but we want to have that so that it is a title that recognizes the efforts and the work that you put into being sober.
Yeah. We also talked about the Pride Center as a meeting place for you. Can we do a plug for them?
Yeah, absolutely. The Pride Center is a great place. They have all their NA and AA meetings are all there. And they're open to everybody in the community. And I'll be honest with you, they're even open to people who are not necessarily in our community, as long as you're doing something that betters the community. So we thought that would be a great place to do it because
The contest.
because we could do it in a bar, but that's kind of ironic.
Yeah, I know.
So we thought
It's not
probably-
appropriate for a sober person.
because it's a trigger for some
Yeah, I
people.
know.
So we thought that would probably be a great place to do it, and
they're open to it.
We're just started talking to them about it, so I think it'll work out though.
Yeah. When I was doing incursions, people were telling me everything is bar oriented. I don't always want to go to a bar, and so we started doing incursions in coffee shops and restaurants and places that don't sell alcohol to give people an option when they don't want to go out to a bar.
And that's why our puppy mushes are at restaurants.
Yeah.
So and plus it also allows you to be there if you're not 21.
Sweet. Are there accepting of puppies wearing hoods at restaurants? Are there any?
Usually what we do is we
You feel them out?
we work the motto of don't scare the muggles.
Okay.
So what we'll do is we'll sit down, we'll have dinner, and then usually at the very end we'll all throw our hoods on and have the server take a picture of us.
Okay.
And we've never had anybody complain.
So you don't discuss with them before.
We're just regular people. Let them see that we're just regular folk.
And that's like an incursion. It's
Yeah.
like a puppy incursion.
Once they see that we're
Yeah.
regular folk, and then we say, would you be able to take a picture? We're just going to do this. It'll be like 2 seconds.
Sweet.
Because it only takes a second for
And
you
they
to put
love
on.
that. And they love that.
They
I
love
know.
it. And usually they wind up taking pictures with us.
Yeah. Anything else you'd like to add to the community?
I think one of the things that's neat about the community is that it is truly all-inclusive.
Yeah.
It's open to everybody. There is no problem with female or trans or POC. It's open to everyone.
Yeah.
But what I will say, being an old stodgy fart, is make sure that if you see something that is not being inclusive, like if you go to an event and somebody says, well, we don't want no girl puppies here,
Right.
don't just go, well, that's terrible. Say something
yeah.
about it. Make sure you change that person's mind, even if you have to call them out and embarrass them.
Make a
'Cause
stink.
Make a stink.
Yeah.
That's how we're going to fix
Yeah.
anything that's not the way it should be in our community.
And we should do, that's really great advice. And we should do a plug for Fetish Rendezvous, which is the third Saturday at the Ramrod of each month from 7
to 9.
7
7
to
to 10.
7 to 10 o'clock. Also, Onyx Club Deep South is also an inclusive event that you can go
Yep,
to.
yep.
It's the second
We go to
Saturday
all
of
their
every
stuff. You go
every
too.
month. Yeah, and also in the Kennel Club. So we have all these events that we're really fortunate in the South Florida leather community. You could always send me a private message for more information, or contact Daddy Dog on Herbiology? Is there a message center there?
Yeah, there actually is, or directly Bear DeRosa. You can find me.
That's great. And I really appreciate Randy helping us with this video. I appreciate your time. You're, a big support and a friend of mine.
You need to come to Puppyoki on Thursday.
I don't know if I could do that. But I'm Scott Blumstein, Mr. Ramrod 2017. Thank you very much.